All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the Pleasure Dome and Project Alpha. In today's episode, we're going to ghetto fix these fog lights because they are truly awful. Think about old cars, 25-year-old car like this, the bulb is pretty rubbish. And a lot of times, the reflectors themselves have degraded. And one of the things I'm really struggling with on this car is the fog lights. I've been doing some work on headlights, that's going okay, but it's the fog lights. I put some LEDs in just to try to see if they'll be okay, because obviously not legal in the UK on the roads. But I put some LEDs in to see if that would help me. It didn't really help a great deal, and there's a key reason for that. Down in the fog lights, there's a reflector that reflects the light back out from that bulb. And in a lot of cases on the GTVs, that reflector itself has degraded, and all that reflective surface has fallen off, and all it leaves is a black plastic behind, and that just sucks up light, doesn't reflect it. So you can change the bulb all you want, you can put the brightest bulb there in as you want, and it doesn't really make much difference. In fact, it's so bad, if you sit in the car when it's dark and you turn the fog lights on and off, you can't even tell if they're on or off. They're so poor. So today, we're going to do a bit of a ghetto fix, take those fog lights out and see what we can do about it. Come join me. Right, to get this side light unit out, there's two screws. So undo these two screws, okay? Now these two screws sit behind the plastic lens cover that goes on just to make it look pretty. Now, they can be a bit rare, so try not to break it when you pull it out. I unpicked mine with a clip. I took mine out with a pick. So, and yeah, just make sure you don't break them. They're quite expensive to buy. And make sure when you put it back in, you don't lose it. So you undo those two screws, you pull it out. Then you've got three cables to unhook. Right, you've got the indicator, and then you've got the fog light. These two connectors are exactly the same, so try not to mix them up when you put them back on. Mine has got some tape on the fog light, so I remember that when I put it back on. Then I've got my side light here. Just unplug that. Right, let's get this bad boy inside because it's really cold out here. Right, guys, we're inside. So we've got the unit here. This is the near side unit. We've got fog light, we've got indicator, and we've got side light in the middle. So what we're going to do is get this reflector unit out of the big overall unit. So, all right, the way to do that then is we need to take off the adjusting piece here. What happens with this adjuster is you turn the screw here, and this pushes that in and out this black bar, and then that changes the angle of the fog light. So we need to just kind of undo that so it starts to push the reflector unit away from the overarching unit. This plastic tag goes over this circle here, which is attached to the main body, under these clips. So try not to carefully break anything. You just pull it back up, pull it up, and it pops out. Okay, and then you can undo this a little bit more. And then there's another tang on the inside. You can't really see it. Same deal. Just pull it out, and then right, then you're outside the main unit. Pull that to the side. That's the seal. Needs to go back in. Keep that safe. Right. So what have we got? We have the lens here. Inside this metal piece, there's you can't really see it a great deal. Inside the metal piece here is like a shroud that only lets the light through half of it. So it acts like a fog light, points in one direction, not the other. So that needs to go back on in the same orientation. And inside this black cone is the reflector. And that is what will be part of our problem. Inside there is supposed to be a mirror finish to reflect the light. That will be black, and most of that mirror finish will be gone. So what we need to do is get access to that, okay? So first things first, take this off. Right, there's no bulbs in these. I've already taken them out. I'll show you that later. Right, so now we can get this black piece off by turning it, and then it just drops out like a bayonet fitting. Right, before we do anything, guys, what I'm going to do is quickly show you before and after. Okay, so just pop this bulb in. This is an LED bulb. Right, then I've got my 12-volt pack, so I'll plug that in, and then trust these on the right ones. Turn it on. Right, so you can see I'm about a foot away, and that's the light output I'm getting from that unit. Okay, not great, is it? I think it should be maybe that way round, so it's shining down. I don't know, but it's not a great deal of output, is it? what I need to do now is gain access to the reflector portion of this. And how we do that is get this metal piece. So it took a bit of figuring out how to get the metal piece off, but there's one easy way of doing that. You do have to create a bit of damage to this, unfortunately. Between the white piece and the black piece is like a foam sealant. It's almost like a cross between a silicone and a caulking, but it's quite friable. But under each of these corners there's a metal tab that is part of this, and it pushed through and then bent. So we need to dig away the foam, push out the metal tag, and then this will pull out. Okay. So quite a small screwdriver. Foam comes out quite quickly. Find the metal tag. Get that under there. Okay. That's one done. So there's 4 of these, obviously, one in each corner. And try and be careful, remember, because you've got to put this back together, and you've got to bend these metal tags back down, so you don't really want to break them. Also, don't stab yourself with a screwdriver. Just got a pair of pliers now, just to make sure, pointing straight out, so I can then pull this metal piece off. I'm loosening it off, it's not quite coming out yet. It will come out. Okay, just I'll get that one there. Oh, there we go. Okay, one side out, and then there we go. Right, so we've got it out. So we've got these 4 metal tangs. What we need to do now is get the pliers on and just try and straighten them up. So when we put it back together, it goes back in easier. Right, if you look, the tangs on one side are thicker than the other, and that controls what's top and what's bottom. So when you put it back in, you put it in the right way around. But for now, we can put that aside. We don't need that at this stage. Right, so this is the problem. Inside that reflector, you can just see a little bit, maybe at the top there. That's all that's left. The rest of it is just black. So it's like a black hole. And when you put your lamp on, it just doesn't reflect it. So it's absolutely pointless. So that's what we're going to try and fix today. Now, so there's 3 options. You can buy a complete new unit, which comes with new ones of these. They're quite expensive, over £200. If you're on a budget like I am, then yeah, don't really want to spend that. Now you can get some used units, second-hand ones of cars being broken. It's going to be the same. I think they're all pretty similar in terms of losing the reflectivity over the years. So you can try them, but probably likely to be the same. And then your third option is to get a new one of these. And these are Hella, so these are German make. You can buy them, but again, they're about £100 for each. And one forum I went on to said that you can also get them from other cars. So it's a common fit-ish from a Mark II Mondeo, and you can get them for that. But again, there'll be a used unit. Why will that be okay? And you're talking 40, 50, 60 pounds each, not guaranteed to have what you want or be as reflective as you want without having to do something about it. So today we're going to do the ghetto fix, which is pretty much the cheapest way I can think of doing this. So we've got that, and that's what we're going to get to in a minute, but I'll show you how we're going to do it. So we're going to use some aluminium tape. So I bought this off Amazon. I don't know what it was, £5, something like that, for 10 meters of it. So it's quite cheap. It's got a sticky back, so it's self-adhesive. So that's really important to get the self-adhesive stuff. So, and it's quite reflective, but I want to make it a little bit more reflective. So what I'm going to do is show you what I've done to make it more reflective. So I am polishing that tape to make it more reflective. I'm going to cut off a piece of tape. I've already done a bit in here. Okay. Now you can't stick the whole thing down, because if you do, you'll never get it back off. Unpeel the ends. Okay. Stick the ends down. What you're going to do afterwards is just cut those ends off. You don't need them. See, I've just done about ½ centimetre on each end. Make sure it's nice and tight when you pull it across. Right, this is why I'm polishing it. So that's the original tape. Quite reflective, yeah, that'll do the job. And that's the polished tape. I mean, you can see the phone in the reflection, yeah. You can see it in that one as well, but not as brightly. So I think that having that polished effect will pay dividends when you put the bulb in, because the more reflection you can get, the better it'll be coming back out of that unit. Right, so I've got a small mini polish here, a Amazon special, Pelitio, okay? So it's about 50, 60 pounds, I think. So I've tried both compound and metal polish. Now you can use both. I think you get a slightly better result with metal polish. Bear in mind this is aluminium tape. So little pea size bit on the aluminium. Dab it across, okay? And just give it a polish and keep moving. Left and right. Got to be gentle, because we don't want to start ripping the tape, do we? Remember, it's only taped down at the ends. Beautiful. Right, then we'll just wipe that off. Cool. And I've got 2 pieces of reflective tape. Not mirror finish, but close enough, and I think we'll get a good reflection from that. Then we've got to put that in here, okay? And that's not as simple as you might think. All right, so the first thing I need to do is just get this tape out of here. So what I'm going to do, just use my pen knife, just cut it down the ends. Right, what we need to do now is get this tape in here, okay? But that's not going to go in like that, because all it'll do is just bunch up, and you'll get loads of creases in it, and it'll look awful. And when you take the backing off this, this is actually quite thin, and it's just really going to get you in a right mess. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to cut triangles out of it. So make a start. That one can go in the bin. So I'm going to cut loads of these triangles that look like that, and it's going to be the mirror image of each other. So every cut makes like a little triangle. Well, it's kind of it's not a triangle, is it, as such? What is it? What shape is it? I don't know, but triangle with a flat head. You know what I mean. Right, so what I'm going to do now then, guys, is put each of these in individually and then work our way around. So it's difficult for you to see, but so make sure you go all the way top to bottom, and then smooth as you can. Try and get the arc of the... So you can see the first one's been done. See the difference already, how it reflects the light, and then I move to the left and right, and that light being reflected disappears. Yeah, it's just night and day. So we're going to work our way around with that, and I'll put in a bit of time lapse. Okay. So I'm just going to show you that last piece. So got my triangle, that's just going to go in. So I'll put my back in carefully. It's quite curly, this stuff, it'll curl up on itself. It's quite strong, it's not as weak as like kitchen foil, so you don't have to be too careful with it. Okay, got a bit of a curve in it so it kind of matches. I kind of put it in, and I'm going around kind of clockwise. So I'm always going a clockwise edge. That's the old piece. Generally, this is obviously covering 2 areas. And then I'll start down at the bottom and smooth my thumb up, pulling up, and trying to smooth it in, because there will be little folds in it because it's going around a curve. And ultimately, it is a flat piece of tape, but by doing the little triangle pieces, you can kind of minimize that a little bit. So that's all done now, and you can see it's a lot more reflective than it was. So you can still see where they're overlapping. It's not perfect, is it? But certainly better than it was. So we'll stick a bulb in, I guess, and have a look at it. Right, and those two pieces of tape that you saw me polish, that was enough for that. Got a tiny piece left over, which is fine. Right, now I need to put this back on, don't I? So remember when we said one tang is bigger than the other tang? So I'm pretty sure it's that way around. But it's a bit fiddly, this bit. Should get that through. Right, so all four of those are back through. Before I had to bend them back, I'm just going to check it's the right way up. Right, so we know the adjusting screw is at the bottom, and this metal here bit is at the top, so that's the right way in, which is good. Right, happy days. Well, that's all bent back in. And then we'll pop that bulb back in and give it a whirl. Right, it's done. So remember what it was like before? This is what it's like now. And that's much brighter. In terms of reflected light. That's the foot away from where we were. So that's going to work much better out in the dark, isn't it? So happy days. Let's get the other one done and get them fitted. Right, one problem I have had, guys, is getting this cap on the back with that bulb. That bulb, the H3 bulbs, and the LED ones could be a bit deeper. I did have some earlier LED ones and they fitted okay, but they broke. So I sent those back and I bought these other ones, but it's just a little bit longer. So the cap I've had to tape on. Not brilliant. Probably could get some smaller bulbs and fix that in future, but for now it'll be okay. So they're both taped on with electrical tape. So, but it doesn't really change what we've done in here. It's just a bit of a bodge at the moment. Right, let's get those two fitted back to the units and get them back on the car. When you're putting these seals back on, careful not to roll them. If you roll them, they want to walk off like that. Look. So if they do that, then put a bit of a positive turn in yourself, so it's going to try to walk the other way. It tries to walk on then, not off. Right, so remember, when you look at this metal piece, half top, goes at the top in the light, so that goes in there like that. Make sure your seals goes in nice and smooth, and then, oh cracky, make sure your seal goes in, and the tighter you do this screw, the more it lifts the light up, so it picks it up that way. I'm just going to go with pretty level. It's worth noting I've also had to redo the inside of here as well. Doesn't really change much, I don't think, in terms of reflection or light output, but during the day, you can see it looks a lot better. I mean, that's a bit yellow in there, but that's the looking from the bottom. So when you're that way around, you can't really tell, but it was all yellow inside there. Now I've put some aluminium tape in. It looks a lot shinier and neater during the day. Charge to it to make sure it shines downwards, not upwards, as a final check. This is nice. Try to touch anything, blow it up. Yeah, okay. Pointing down, which is great, exactly what we want when we're on the road. Fantastic. Right, guys, we're back outside with our two lights. And I think I've got these the wrong way around. Yeah. Okay. So, remember what we said about the yellow tape being for the fog light. So, you'll see the hazard lights are on. That's to make sure that when I plug in this indicator, it starts to flash. So I've made a mistake. Right, so we've got our indicator on. Fogged. So there's a hole here. You have to make sure this little bar goes out into this hole. Okay. Otherwise, I'll go too far back. So that's in. Just screw those two in. Put that in. Brilliant. Let's go turn them on to see what they look like. Indicators off. As the lights off. Start up with maximum power. That's headlights. Side lights. Fog light. Oh yes, I can see it from outside the car now. Brilliant. Woo! Well, I'm just going to show you this from inside the car now. Bear in mind, guys, before I started this, even with the LED lights, you couldn't see the fog lights. You might just be able to see a little tiny flicker of something extra coming on. Okay, now this is what we're like now. Awesome. That's fog lights. Fantastic. Can't believe it. Such a difference that reflector's made. Absolutely fantastic. Right. So just going to try headlights. That's headlights on. Fog lights added. Brilliant. You can even see them with the headlights because you just couldn't. You certainly couldn't see with the headlights on earlier. Fabulous. I'm not sure you can see me with these on behind me, but they're so bright now. It's brilliant. Great job. Well done. Nice ghetto fix. Didn't cost me hardly anything. About £5 for a bit of tape. You can use the original bulbs or you can go for the LEDs like I've done. I think they were, what were they? 15 quid, £20, something like that. So, got nice bright fog lights now. Really happy with that. I think one problem with using the original bulbs is they put off a lot of heat. And if you're going to stick in, I mean, that's the reason why that reflective stuff has disappeared in the first place, because of the heat of the bulb. So if you're going to go do what I've done and use that tape and stick that in, that heat might give it effect. So it might only really work with LEDs, but go on, you take the risk then, don't you, of getting pulled up in MOT. But it is what it is. But I think they'll be okay for the fog. So give it a go. Cheap fix. If your fog lights are awful, have a work on the reflective side and get it sorted. Thanks for joining me. My name's Craig and I'm exhausted. Take care. See you next time.